So we are discussing kinematics, and first we will be discussing these two topics first today: equations of motions and graphs, right? Equations of motion. What are equations of motion? First of all, equations of motion are valid only for objects with constant accelerations, right? Equations of motion are valid only for those objects which are moving with constant accelerations. For variable, acha, what are the types of questions? We have three equations of motion. We are all aware of it. V is equal to u plus at. S vector is equal to ut plus half at square. And the third one is what? V square is equal to u square plus 2a dot s, right? So I'll be writing the equations here. Please follow it. If you have any doubts, ask. So what are the three equations which we have? First one is v vector is equal to u vector plus a vector t, right? These equations are valid only for objects moving with constant accelerations. Next one is s vector is equal to u vector t plus half a vector t square. Okay. The third equation is v dot v is equal to u dot u plus 2a dot s vector, right? These are the actual formats to write the correct equations of motion. Okay. I am saying there is one more equation, and this equation is the displacement in nth second, right? And this is what? What is the expression for this? U plus a by 2 times 2n minus 1. Okay. Is this the correct way to write it? No, this is not the correct way to write it. Here you have to write 1 second inside the bracket. Here it is a by 2. This is 2n minus 1. The unit of this entire term in bracket is 1 second, and this is 1 second, right? This is displacement in 1 second. Now, what is the difference? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between these two equations? Any one of you? Krisha, what is the difference between these two? Sharanya, any idea what is the difference between these two?
Sir, the first equation is not dimensionally correct, but the second one is dimensionally correct.
Very good. Excellent. First equation is not dimensionally correct because if you write the dimensions of these terms, right, this is displacement in nth second. So what is the dimension for displacement, Jia? Would you like to contribute? What is the displacement or the dimension of displacement?
Am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible. L, right? And equal to what is display dimension of u? That is velocity.
LT minus 1.
LT minus 1. So here only we can say that this is wrong, right? I have given you the derivation also, and I have given you the access in the Physics Pro Gold also. The derivations are there. You can go and watch it there. So finally, the equation, the correct equation is this one, right? Here we are multiplying 1 second here, and LT minus 1 multiplied by T. This cancels out. We get the dimension for displacement. The same thing will happen here also. LT minus 2 is dimension for acceleration. 2n minus 1 is t, and 1 second is t again, right? So these two t, they cancels out with this one. So we get displacement is added to displacement to give us displacement. All of you. Ashmika, Sanchita, understood, beta? Sure? Sparsh, understood?
Yes, sir.
Keshav?
Yes, sir.
Good. So these are the three equations, 4 equations based on which the questions will be asked. Okay. I am recording these sessions. You will be getting the access to these sessions. Okay, so don't worry about it. Now comes what happens when there is a variable acceleration. So equations of motion are not applicable. We will use calculus to solve. Okay. So let's see. Now all of you are okay with this, or you need some more explanation? Please tell yes or no. See, we are here to make you comfortable in solving numericals. If you want some more input, I can definitely add to it. If you are okay with this, I'll move ahead. Okay with it, Sharanya? Good. Krisha,
Yes, sir.
Jia, Ashmika and Sanchita, okay with it? Or you need some more input, beta?
Yes,
No?
sir, I'm okay with
Okay. So let's start solving the numericals. So I have sorted out some questions and we will be solving those. And based on these things, we will be forming an algorithm, right? I can give you algorithm, but initially if I give you algorithm, then there is no use of, you will not be using your brain. You will be simply mechanically applying those things. So let's see this one. It's a very simple question. A body of 5 kg is moving with a velocity of 20 meters per second, right? So we know the mass of body is 5 kg. Okay. What is initial velocity of the body? It's 20 meters per second. I am solving. All of you are able to see this first question, or you want me to increase the font of it?
So we can't see the first question.
Okay. So now,
Yes.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
it is visible, na? Just a second. And now the font is also good. Ha, bhai. So you can see here a body of 5 kg is moving with a velocity of 20 meters per second. So what is mass of the body? It's 5 kg. So just follow the steps which I am trying to do, right? See, all of us do the same steps subconsciously also. But what happens is when there is a time to formulate something or to make a structure out of it, right? There we actually miss the basics. Okay, and then only the question starts becoming difficult. So यहाँ पे let's try to understand how we are processing the data, how we are capturing the data. So a body of 5 kg is moving with a velocity of 20 meters per second. So what is initial velocity? It's 20 meters per second, right? If a force of 100 Newton is applied, on it for 10 seconds in the same direction, right? So direction of force and direction of velocity are same. Say if I take it as I cap, that is along x-axis, it remains the same, right? All of you agree to it or not? So it says what will now be the velocity of the body. So time is 10 seconds and we want velocity at the end of 10 seconds. Now, the first thing which I did was I gathered all the data. Yes or no? You also have to do the same. First of all, you collate the data first, right? Now what you do is, first of all, you collate the data. Now what you do is, you try to form an equation. You try to form an equation. Okay? See, this is a very easy question. All of you might be able to solve it. But I just want to show you the steps, how you are doing it, how your mind is working actually behind this, right? And we will actually extrapolate the same things to other questions as well. So just pay attention. So we know initial velocity, we know force, we know time, we want to find what is velocity, and we also know mass. What is missing here is acceleration is missing. Yes or no? And how can we find acceleration? Do we have force here? Yes. Do we have mass here? Yes. Now what you will check is mass is a constant. Is mass is a constant? Yes, of course, mass is a constant. So can I apply force is equal to mass into acceleration here and find acceleration? So what is it? It's 100 I cap upon 5. So this is 20 meters per second square I cap, right? All of you. Understood? Now I know acceleration is constant. I have initial velocity. I have time. Which equation of motion will be valid here? It's V is equal to U plus AT. Understood or not, all of you? So what is U here? U is 20 I cap plus A is what? 20 into T is what? 10 I cap. And from here we get 220 I cap meters per second. So both the initial and final velocities are along the same direction. Now what did I assume here? I assumed that I cap as a direction. So don't hesitate to choose a direction until and unless it is not strictly mentioned. Understood or not? And follow vectors to the T. Vectors follow karna hi hai, right? All of you have to follow the vectors. So this was one thing. So first step is, right, all of you. First step is collate the data. Right? Second is try to find the unknown term which is required. Okay, to solve the question. What is that? What was that here? It was an acceleration. And then use the standard equation. This is how the equation problems will be done. Equations of motion problem will be done. Right? When do we use equations of motion? When acceleration A is constant. So did we check it here or not? That was the acceleration constant or not? Yes, we checked it, right? We checked it. Acceleration is constant. And then only we applied it. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So all of you are okay with it? Steps. Data dekhna hai. We have to gather the data. Then check for unknown parameter which is involved in forming the equation. And then form the equation and solve it. Right. Then comes this next one. See, two trains, one of 100 meter and another of length 125 meter are moving in mutually opposite directions along parallel lines. Meet each other, each with speed 10 meters per second. If their accelerations are this and this respectively, then the time taken to pass each other will be. Now, how will you approach it? So I have this question here with me. Okay, I'll draw the train first. See what I will do. How many of you can able to figure it out that it may be a question of relative motion? All of you can figure it out, right? So now we are doing the same thing. Okay. So this is train number 1 and this is train number 2. Okay. Now, this is the time when they meet. Okay, let's call this time as t is equal to 0. And when they have crossed each other, how will the diagram look like? ये कुछ ऐसा, just a second, huh? It will be somewhat like this. Yes or no? ऐसा कुछ होगा ये, ठीक है? Now see, this is time. They have actually crossed in some time t, right? So this end of this train, let's call them as A and B, right? A and B. So the tail of P, let's name this point as P, has reached this point, right? And this is tail of A. Okay, let's call this point as Q. Point Q has reached this end, right? All of you? Now, how will you approach it? Sharanya, any idea how will you approach it? What will be the first step? You are mute.
Gathering the data would be the first
Okay.
step.
So let's write all the data with respect to ground. Okay. Okay. Sanchita, Ashmika, and Nimra, Mehrish, Manikandan, and who else is there? Sparsh. Chalo. Jia, theek hai beta? So first of all, what we are going to do is we are writing velocity of train A with respect to ground. They are moving in opposite directions, right? So let's take this direction as x-axis and this as y-axis. So can I call it as, say, 10 I cap meters per second, right? What is acceleration of A with respect to ground? It's 0.3 meters per second square I. Agree to it or not, all of you? Now, see the beauty of vectors. You need not have to think also. The only thing is you have to write vectors in correct sense. That's it. Okay. Check karte jao. Now, what is velocity of B with respect to ground? What is it? It's 10 minus I cap because they are moving in opposite directions, right? What is acceleration of B with respect to ground? It is 0.2. They are moving in mutually opposite direction. Minus I cap meters per second square, right? All of you. Now we have the common frame of reference as ground here. Okay. Now to cross each other, how much distance P has to travel with respect to Q, or Q has to travel with respect to P? Can you find displacement of P with respect to Q? Let's say Q is at origin. Okay, fix the Q here. Yes or no? How much distance P has to travel to reach Q? Q is fixed.
225 meters.
225 meters. Very good. This length is 100 meters and this length is 125 meters. Understood or not? First of all, please understand it. Don't spend your time in writing. I'll be giving you the recording, so don't worry about it, right? Try to figure out the steps. Okay, I can give you the steps in writing, but what is happening here is, see, if you will not try to understand the steps, then it will be a problem for you in other questions. Okay, I don't want it to be a purely mechanical process.
Excuse
Right.
me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, won't the P point be over the Q point in the second diagram?
Yes. Ek minute. They have crossed each other only when P and Q are same at same position. Yes. Then only the displacement will be 0, right? Okay. So this is the case. So if I say what is displacement of P with respect to Q, then it is 225 minus I cap. Yes or no? Is it minus I cap or plus I cap? Minus I cap, because
Minus I.
because P is moving in the backward direction with respect to Q. And if I'll ask you to write displacement of Q with respect to P, it will be 225 plus I cap, right? So this point P was with which body, which train? B. And Q was with which train? A. So can I write displacement of B with respect to A when they cross each other should be 225 minus I cap? Yes or no? All of you?
Yes.
If you have any doubts, please ask. Ashmika, do you have any doubts, beta? No? Sanchita, do you have any doubts? Sure? Jia? No doubts?
Understood, sir.
Okay. Now comes. So we have displacement of B with respect to A. But do we have initial velocity of B with respect to A? These were the initial velocities, right? So let me write it as U. UBG. So can you find BA now? Because our frame of reference is which vector? Sorry, which frame? A is our frame of reference, right? So we need to write all the variables, whether it is initial velocity or final velocity or displacement or acceleration with respect to A only. If you are taking A as a reference point. If you take B as a reference point, you have to write U, V, everything with respect to B. So what is UBA? It will be UBG, the first velocity of first term, minus velocity of second term, which is UAG. Sanchita, understood or not? Just say no if you don't understand it, okay? I'll explain it again. So UBG is what? 10 minus I cap. What is UAG? It's 10 I cap. So what is it? It's 20 minus I cap. All of you got it or not? Understood? So we have UBA. Now what happens to ABA? What is it? It's this, sorry, ABG minus AAG. And what is it? It's 0.2 minus I cap minus 0.3 plus I cap. So this is 0.5 minus I cap. So we have displacement, we have acceleration, we have initial velocity. क्या पूछ रहा है? It is asking what is the time taken to pass each other, right? Which equation we will use now?
Second equation.
Second equation of motion. So and that is S vector is equal to, it is SBA is equal to UBAT plus half ABA into T square. So what is it? This is 20 T minus I cap plus half 0.5 into T square minus I cap, right? And this is 225 minus I cap. Now you can replace or remove this direction just because you want to solve it now. So this is 450 is equal to 40T plus 0.5 T square. Now can you solve it now? This is the equation which we wanted to solve. Now you may think, sir, I was able to figure it out since we are doing relative motion, so I would have found already 225, why 225 is there, why AB is there. Why do we need to write all these things? See, initially you keep on writing it, say 10, 15, 20 questions, 30 questions. Eventually what will happen is you will be able to write it. Matlab, you need not have to think also. It will start coming naturally to you. But you have to first form the process. See, you know, this I cap which you are writing, this minus I cap which you are writing, right? This is giving you a clear idea of what is the direction of motion. Understood or not? Sharanya, Jia, Krisha. So follow these steps whenever you are doing problems related with one dimension motion and based on equations of motion. Okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. So let's. Okay, no worries, Saranya. If you're not, see, because of network issues, if you're not able to switch on your video, no worries. Now comes, let me check. Let's do this fifth one. It says, a parachutist after bailing out falls 50 meters without friction. Okay. Now see what we need to do. Sparsh, check karo beta. ठीक है. A parachutist after bailing out. So this is the man who is falling down, right? So falls 50 meters without friction. So he will fall for 50 meters without friction. Okay, there is no air resistance and all. So this is the height. I am just collating the data. Dekho, I am using the same steps which you will be using, right? 50 meters, H1. When parachute opens, it decelerates at 2 meters per second square. So here the parachute opens up. Right? And the deceleration now starts, which is 2 meters per second square. So now, any one of you, did you think we can find what is velocity here? Yes or no? When the deceleration starts, can we find velocity at that point? Yes or no? See, this is how the question is building up. We are collating, we are deducting, we are deducing the data also. Right. Now, he reaches the ground with a speed of 3 meters per second. Now he has fallen on the ground. He is back on the ground, and the speed with which he has fallen is 3 meters per second. Right. So at this instant, his speed is how much? 3 meters per second. At what height did he bail out? So we don't know this distance. See, we don't know this distance, h2. And once we are able to get this h2, definitely we will be able to find the answer to our question. Yes or no, all of you? So what is the data which is missing here? For which is needed to frame our equations? Sparsh?
Sir, we need to find the velocity first. Find velocity.
Velocity when the parachute is opening, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
understood or not? And then we know the deceleration here. In this zone, we know the deceleration, which is 2 meters per second square. We know the final velocity, right? And this will be initial velocity. So now how to find it out? U. It's simple. It's mgh is equal to half mu square. You have read this or not? Mass m has fallen through height h1, right? So mgh1 is equal to half mu square. Cancels out. You are left with u is root of 2gh1. Agree to this or not? All of you. Jia, Sanchita, समझ आ रहा है बेटा? Understood? Asmika, understood? So now we know u, right? And what is that u? It is, it's 1000. Let's write it as 1000. 100 into 10, right? So it is 10 root 10 meters per second. This is u. Now, this u is, if I write it in terms of vector, it is along minus j cap, right? If I take this as x-axis and this is y-axis, this is along minus j cap. Yes or no? Great. What is retardation? It's 2 minus j, plus j cap. Yes or no? It is going upwards, na? Retardation ka matlab, what do you understand by retardation? It is opposite to the direction of velocity, right? Now, what is the final velocity, bachcho? Final velocity is 3 meters per second. Plus j or minus j, Sanchita? You have to unmute yourself.
minus j.
Minus j. Very good. So this is it. Now, how do I form the equation? Please pay attention here. We have this third equation of motion, v dot v is equal to u dot u plus 2a dot s. Now, how many of you are tempted to write this plus sign as minus sign? Krisha? ये प्लस को माइनस लिखने का मन किया ना बेटा? नहीं? केशव? What about you? No? Jia? Because it's a retardation. So did you got tempted to write it as minus sign?
No, sir.
No. Acha, okay. That's great. Chalo, then what will happen here is it's 3 minus j will become plus 1. So this is 9. This is u dot u. U is what? 10 root 10. So 10 root 10 into 10 root 10 is 1000. This is plus only. Okay. Please pay attention. It's 2. 2 is 2. 2 j cap. Dot. What is s? I don't know what is s vector. But it is going downwards, right? So can I write it as h2 minus j cap? Say yes or no. All of you, please pay attention and say, answer my question. Can I write it as s vector as h2 minus j cap? All of you.
Yes, sir.
Sure? Sharanya, Sanchita, Ashmika. And she is, kaun bachcha hai? Nimra Mehrish. Nimra, you understood it or not?
Yes,
See,
sir.
I can understand that you have joined a bit late, so don't worry about it. Nothing, you have not lost much of the things. But please keep replying. If you don't understand it, just ask me. Huh?
Yes, sir.
So this is 9 is equal to 1000 plus this is 4h2, but with minus sign. Why? Because j dot minus j is minus 1. So now 4h2. Now can you solve it? It's minus 991 upon minus 4 is h2. So this is what is there. This is 2s are 19, 4 4s are 16, 31. Approximately I'll take it as 8 and plus 50. Okay. 50 meters was initial. This will be approximately this much only, na? 48. Ha, chalega. So this is 298, approximately 298 meters. Now, why I am getting this? So the answer is closer
So
to
they have taken
293.
9.8.
Ha, so why I am getting 298 as the answer is they have taken G as 9.8 meters per second square. Okay. Now, how many of you actually understood the flow of the question and you don't face any problem this time? Flow samajh mein aaya beta, all of you? Huh? First of all, we are just drawing the things, placing the data in place in wherever they are, right? Then we are trying to identify where is the missing data before we form the equation, and then we form that equation, right? So this step was a key step here. Ye jo tha na, this one was a key step. If you not have found this U, then it will be a challenge for all of us. Now, this is a typical NEET ka question, a typical JEE means medium difficulty level question. But for NEET, it's a closer to matlab more than medium difficulty hai. Right, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I define difficulty level, this will be close to 7.580, 8 number. Right, for NEET. How many of you are NEET aspirant here? Ashmika, you are a NEET aspirant. Okay. Jia, Sanchita, you are not a NEET aspirant. You are? Sharanya?
Sir, I am a JEE student.
JEE. Sparsh, तुझे JEE advanced करना है, ठीक है. Nimra, you are a JEE aspirant or NEET?
NEET, sir.
So you understood this question now?
Yes, sir.
Not only understood the question, the solution, you understood the flow, the steps, what you need to identify when you are solving this problem. Okay, so let's see the next one. We are doing problems only related to equations of motion, right? I am not going anywhere else except for those things. Probably I may take some more time, but don't worry. Now this is a let's do one variable. Chalo, I'll show you one question. Now please pay attention, all of you. This is a case for, see, velocity of a particle is given as k root of x, where x is position of the particle. Okay, velocity of a particle is given as k root of x at t is equal to 0. At t is equal to 0, x is 0, and obviously v will be 0, because if I put the value of x as 0 in this equation, I get v as 0. You have to find v as a function of time t, or let's write it like this: find x as a function of time t. Okay, so now how many of you think that x is what? X is the displacement of the particle, because x initially is 0. So time ka function hai. What we will do is, I will simply write acceleration. I'll take acceleration a as some constant which is not given, and I will write v is v u plus at, sorry, s is equal to ut plus half at square, and solve it. Can you do it like this? Any one of you? Can we do it like this? Obviously not. It's very obvious that we are not aware about the acceleration, whether it is a constant or a variable. So whenever you are not aware about what is the status of acceleration, is it a constant or is it a variable? Always go for the basics. Now, how will you do it? It's simple now. V is what? It's dx over dt. Okay. This is equal to k root of x, right? Now write dx as dx upon root of x is equal to k dt. Now you integrate it. At t0, what is x? X is 0. At t is equal to t, what is x? X is x. This is what we intend to find. Sanchita, Ashmika, Krisha, Jia, Sparsh, Sharanya, Nimra. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, when all of you are aware about integration, right? Or you want me to show it to you? Chalo, I'll write the integration. So this is x minus 1 by 2 dx. Integral from 0 to x is equal to kt. Now this is how much? Minus 1 by 2 plus 1 into 2 ho jayega, because we are entering into 0 to minus 1 by 2 plus 1 karenge. This is 0 to x is equal to kt, right? So this is 2 root of x is equal to kt. Now I have this root x as kt by 2. Now shall I leave it like this, or I should square it and write this? Tell me, what do I need to do? I should leave it like this, or I should write it like this?
So we should write it as a k square t square upon 4.
Yes, because we want to find x as a function of time t. So this is the correct form to write it. Now, if I want to make this question a little bit more difficult, right? They will write in option, find whether acceleration is a constant or a variable. Or they will write a is a function of, write a as a function of time t. They may ask this, okay? And there will be two answers which you need to take care of, right? So now what you will do here is differentiate this x. It's simple, we will get v, and that is what? K squared t 2t upon 4, or this is k squared t upon 2. This is v, right? And when we differentiate it, we get a, and that is what? K square upon 2. Got it? So is a constant or a variable?
Constant.
Up, dekho. If they ask you in the very beginning and the 4 options are there, they are not asking you to solve it. They are asking you whether equations of motion are valid here or not. See how the questions can be asked. Whether the equations of motion are valid or not by just showing you this equation. What will you write? What will be the procedure? If you are seeing this question for the very first time, that v is equal to k root of x hai, at t0 x is 0, v is 0. Now, question is the equations of motion applicable? Yes or no?
Yes,
What are you
sir.
going to write? Will you do this entire process, or you just write yes or no? You have to do this entire process. Understood my point? Why I am asking you this? Because see, this seems to be a variable acceleration case. This seems to be, but it is not. We have already found it mathematically. Jia, understood or not? So whenever you have a question like this, where you are not very sure mathematically, then please do the entire process. I have already shown you in the test taking strategies that you have enough time to solve these type of questions. Okay? Choice of question is very important, right? So you have to scan the paper and make good choices. Understood or not? All of you. Okay? So let's solve. Chalo. So this is equations of motion, right? Let's solve some more questions from equations of motion. आज यही करते हैं, ठीक है? So let's do this one. This 12th one. Will you try? Will you guys try this 12th one? Please try. First, you are trying to solve it or not? You are solving it?
Yes, sir. Just
Okay.
1 second.
Karo. Sharanya, you are doing it or not?
Yes, sir.
Nimra, you're getting a hang on it?
No, sir.
No, you're not able to figure it out what is happening. So, chalo, I'm talking to you only, right? Rest of you, please do it. Is it a variable acceleration case or a constant acceleration case?
Uh, variable.
Obviously variable, because x is a variable there and a is given to you as minus a. This is, write it as minus alpha. Huh? This is alpha. This is not a. So acceleration a is minus alpha x square, right? Now, what are they asking? They are asking you to find the distance at which the particle stops. So can you write a in terms of v and t? What is a? Rate of change of velocity,
Yeah.
right? So,
dv by dt.
so can we write it as dv by dt then?
Yeah.
See, this is the, in variable acceleration case, this is the first step. Either it is velocity is given to you, write it as dx by dt. If acceleration is given to you, write it as dv by dt, right? Now, there are three variables here, v, t and x, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you need to convert it into any of the two variables. But it is saying distance at which the particle stops. So particle stops ka matlab velocity is 0, distance is x. Krisha? Hi, Anna.
Yes, sir.
So we need to eliminate this t from here. Yes or no?
Yes,
So how
sir.
do we do it? We know that dx by dt is v. So can I multiply it by dx on either of the sides and get rid of this t? This dx by dt becomes v then, right? And this is minus alpha x square dx. Now we have v as a function of x. Understood or not? Krisha, hua beta?
Yes, sir.
संचिता, जिया, केशव, मणिकंदन, अच्छा नहीं, अश्मिका. चलो, तो all of you understood this or not? The first step, whenever you have, याद रखो, answer is D. Whenever you have an option, whenever you have a variable acceleration case, right? If you are, always go for either you write v as dx by dt or a as अगर if A is given to you, write it as dv by dt, or you can write A as, नहीं ये हो गया, this is it. Then when you want to eliminate t, multiply dx on either of the sides, you get v dv, and then you integrate it. When x was 0, x is 0, right? Initial velocity is v naught. When x is x, final velocity is 0. So integrate it, it's v square by 2 from v naught to 0, and this is minus alpha x cube by 3 from 0 to x. This is how you will get the value of what? The distance. Understood or not? Just give me a second. Someone is there at the door. Just
So you're muted.
sorry. And from here I get x as 3 v naught square by 2 alpha power 1 by 3. So answer is D. Krisha, very good. You got it correct. All the 11 standard kids, did you understand how to solve this type of problems or not?
Yes, sir.
Nimra, now you understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. So let's move ahead. Let's do, now let's start with, what should I say? You guys are tired? Would you mind if I extend this session to by 10 minutes or so?
Yes, sir.
Chalega? Okay. So
Yes, sir.
let's do this. I'll give you an overview of graphs, and we will start graphs. We will do this questions on graph on Saturday. ठीक है? तो let's do the questions on Saturday. So I'll be sharing this with you. I'll teach you graphs, don't worry. Graphs mein, what we have here is, there are 3 types of graphs. First of all, remember that graphs can be drawn only for one dimension motion. All of you are aware of it or not? Graphs can be drawn only for one dimensional motion. Yes or no? So remember it. If you don't, एक minute, I'll write it here. Graphs are drawn only for one dimensional motion. Okay. Now, how many types of graphs are there? First is position time graph. From position time graph, of course, we get the position of the particles. Of course, we get the position of the particles, distance, displacement we will get, but we also get average velocity and instantaneous velocity. Now, how do we get average velocity? It is slope of the secant drawn to the curve. I will explain this to you, don't worry. It is slope of the secant drawn to the curve. All of you are aware about what is tangent, what is secant? Any one of you who doesn't understand what is a secant, what is a tangent? Keshav?
Yes, sir.
आता है कि नहीं? हाँ. What is instantaneous velocity? It is slope of the tangent drawn to the curve. Jia? Tangent secant clear है बेटा?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. तो अब देखो इधर. Now we have, this is a position time graph which I have drawn here, which I am drawing here, right? Now, I'll draw it like this. ठीक है. This is x and this is y. Sorry, this is time. Okay. All of you, please pay attention. What is time? How to solve problems based on this. This is representing the position of the particle along x-axis, since we are discussing one-dimension motion, and this is along time. Now, if I ask you to find average velocity between these 2 points, A and B, okay, what you will do here is, first of all, you will get the coordinates of it, these 2 points. We can get their coordinates. Now, this is, let's call this as xb, this as xa, this as ta, and this as tb. All of you understood it or not? Now draw this secant. So this is the secant to the curve. How many of you are aware about slope? You guys understand slope or not?
Yes.
So see, this is the angle which this secant is making with the x-axis, right? And if I find tan theta, I am finding the slope of this secant. Now how will I do it? This is what? xb minus xa. Okay? And this is what? It's tb minus ta. Understood? So we have xb minus xa upon tb minus ta is the average velocity between these 2 time intervals, ta and tb. Got it? This is average velocity. If it comes out to be positive, then the object is going along positive x-axis. Understood or not? All of you. By looking at the curve, by looking at the data, can you say that velocity is positive or negative? Sanchita, can I say velocity is along positive x-axis? Yes, na? Very good.
Sir.
Because xb is greater than xa and tb is greater than ta, so it cannot be negative. So the object is moving along positive x-axis, right? Now, my question is to Ashmika. Ashmika, please tell about this curve, this secant. If I ask you what is the average velocity between these 2 points, is it negative or positive? This points P and Q.
Negative, sir.
The particle is between these 2 intervals, the particle is moving along negative
Negative.
x-axis. Understood? It is very much visible because the slope is negative. Now, how can I find slope? You can say that, sir, this is the angle which it is making, right? All of you can say this or not? Now, you may say, you may ask, there is no triangle involved here. So how can I find tan of theta 1? बोल सकते हो कि नहीं ऐसा? You can say this or not? Now what will you do? कुछ नहीं करना है. You have to write this triangle then. This is pi minus theta 1. Understood? Now, complete this triangle. Complete this triangle. If this angle is pi minus theta 1, this angle will also be pi minus theta 1. Yes or no? I have these 2 instances now. This is TP. This is TP and this is TQ. Yes or no? This is XP. These are the X and Y X coordinates, right? This is XP and this is XQ, right? So can I find tan of pi minus theta 1? All of you, please say yes or no. And
Yes.
say its value.
Yes, sir.
Its value is, what will it be? It will be XP minus XQ upon TQ. Sorry, not like this. It's coming this way, na? So final position is Q. So XQ minus XP upon TQ minus TP. Okay. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This height is XP minus XQ. ये भी लिख सकते हो. You can write it like this. हाँ, this is तो यही है ना. And this is not negative. xp minus xq. This is correct. tq minus tp, because tq is greater than tp. Okay. Now comes what? This is what? Tan of pi minus theta 1. So what is tan of pi minus theta 1? It's minus tan theta 1, right? And these two values are positive only. Understood or not? So is it a negative velocity or a positive velocity now? You can easily say that it is minus of xp minus xq upon tq minus tp. समझ आया बेटा या नहीं आया? All of you. Sanchita, Ashmika, Sharanya, Sparsh, Krisha,
Understood.
Understood, sir.
Keshav, हाँ.
Yes.
Nimra.
Yes, sir.
Now comes, let's do one question based on position time graph and then we will end our session today. ठीक है? So this is a simple position time graph for different times. I'm drawing the data first. Now please pay attention. Huh? This is x, this is t, and this is 10 meters per second. This is minus 10 meters per second. This is 2, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. Okay. I want you to find the velocity of the particle at, first is t is equal to 1 second, 3 seconds, and 5 seconds. Okay. Second is, then comes find the average velocity. Average velocity between, first is t is equal to 0 to say 4 seconds, and second is t is equal to 3 to 6 seconds. Sorry, this is not meters per second, this is meters only, okay? These are meters. So let's do this first one. How do we find instantaneous velocity? Jia, how do we find instantaneous velocity beta from a position time graph? फिर से तुम्हारी आवाज थोड़ी क्रैक हो गई.
dx upon dt.
नहीं, we will see, you missed this thing. We will find the slope of the tangent drawn to the curve, right? Sanchita, Ashmika, please pay attention. See, we at t is equal to 1 second. Where is 1 second? This is the 1 second mark here, okay? Now, what is the corresponding mark on the curve? This is the corresponding mark on the curve. All of you agree to this or not? Please say yes or no. Right? This is the corresponding mark on the curve. Now, what you need to, we are finding instantaneous velocity or not? This is an instantaneous velocity. Yes or no? All of you?
Yes.
Krisha?
Yes.
Krisha, समझ आ रहा है बेटा नहीं आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Sharanya? Now, what I will do here is, I will draw a tangent to this curve. Yes or no? Is this a tangent to this curve? Yes, of course, because it's a straight line, so the tangent is coinciding on it, right? So for a straight line, there cannot be a tangent which can be drawn. But yes, of course, we have to find the slope. So this can be considered a tangent at this point to this curve, right? We are not bothered about what is happening beyond that point on either of the sides. Now, what is the slope of this tangent? Can we find? Let's call this as theta 1. So what is tan theta 1? Tan theta 1 is, take this triangle A, O and B. So take this triangle AOB. Tan theta 1 is how much? It's 10 upon 2. This is meters, this is seconds. So it is 5 meters per second. Keshav, understood or not? So
Yes.
this is velocity at t is equal to 1 second. All of you understood it or not? Nimra? Sparsh? Sanchita?
Yes, I also
Ashvika?
got them.
Sharanya, समझ आया बेटा? शाबाश. Krisha?
Yes, sir, समझा.
Up 3 seconds पे. Where is the corresponding point on 3 second? What is the corresponding mark on 3 second on this curve? This is the point. Now, draw the tangent. Again, it will coincide with it. The line. What is the slope of this tangent? By looking at it only, we can say that it's tan theta 2 is 0. Yes or no? Because it is making an
Yes.
angle of 0 degrees with the x-axis. So V at t is equal to 3 seconds is what? 0. What about velocity at 5 seconds? Draw the tangent. This is the tangent. This purple color line is the tangent to this curve at 5 seconds, right? All of you. Now, would you like to try? This is the angle which it is making with the x-axis. So can anyone find tan theta 3 for me? Or would you like, all of you find tan theta 3, please? Please do it quickly. Very good, Krisha. Sanchita, trying to do or not? You're doing? Good. Sharanya, पक्का आंसर 5/2 आएगा बेटा? पक्का? चेक करो, क्रॉस चेक योर आंसर. अच्छा. I got answers from 3 people and all three answers are different. So now, देखो ऐसा मत करो, मेरे को लगेगा नहीं फिर I have taught you something. Just try to find what is tan theta 3. There is no triangle involved here, right? Sharanya, chalo आओ. Sharanya and Jia, both of you. This is what? This angle is pi minus theta 3. Yes or no? So can I draw this triangle now? Jia? हाँ या ना बेटा? है ना? So what is tan of pi minus theta 3? What is tan of pi minus theta 3? Very good. Jia, what is tan of pi minus theta 3 here? This length 10 upon 1. Yes or no? So what is tan of pi minus theta 3 is minus tan theta 3, right? Tan of 180 minus theta is minus tan theta. So this is 10. So what is tan theta 3 now? It's minus 10 meters per second. Understood? केशव समझ आया नहीं आया बेटा? केशव तेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. हाँ ठीक है. Nimra, Sparsh, you got the answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. Shabash beta. Sanchita, your answer was correct. You posted this answer or not? Minus 10. Chalo. So see, we will continue for what do I say this graphs in next session. But now what do you have as homework? Acha, how many of you are in Acha, all of you are in 11th standard, right? Ashmika, you are in 11th or 12th standard? Can you please unmute yourself?
Sir, I'm a repeater, sir.
Okay, repeater. So and you are preparing for NEET, right? Bahut badhiya.
Yes.
So now can you guys do you have concepts of physics HC Verma with you, all of you?
Yes, sir.
If you
Yes.
don't have, I will send you the PDF, right? If you don't have, I will give you the PDF, but you can get a hard copy later on. Okay. Now I am showing you these questions which you need to solve before coming to the next session. They are based exclusively on what we have done today. Just a second. Huh? I am giving you homework from HCV because we will be using it as a reference book, because we have one common book now where we can solve all the, from where we will be solving the questions. I can give you different worksheets, but you already have many things to do. So let's keep it very simple and very effective. I'll show you something. This is rest and motion chapter. Okay. You can go read it also. I will post the PDF of this chapter, sorry, this entire book in the group. But my suggestion is please buy a hard copy of this book, right? It will be very helpful for you. So we did all these average velocity. You can read it. Now, the questions which you need to do is, please pay attention. First one, ठीक है. Second, third, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all solved examples. 5, all based on equations of motion and graph, which we have done till now. 6, 7, leave 8th one, and this is a x versus t we need to draw, so do this 9th one also. So 1 to 9 except for 8 solved examples only. Okay, then you can solve as many number of objectives questions. Acha, chalo, we'll do objectives only. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Projectile we have not done. So 6 from objective 1, right? 6 from objective 1. From objective 2 it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, don't do 8 because we have not done velocity time graph. So do this one. And 9. Okay. So except for 8, 1 to 9, objective 2, objective 1, 1 to 7. Okay. Any doubts in this? See, these are multiple choice questions, very simple questions. I am not giving you questions from exercises to solve. You can do it on your own. Any number of questions you want, you can definitely ask me doubts in the group if you have. Okay? If you're solving questions from your own coaching institutes or somewhere from some other textbook also, you can post the question in the group. I'll be answering those doubts. Okay? Any clarity you want, or if you have any doubts or anything else you'd like to ask? नहीं, कोई doubt नहीं है? Done. So, how many of you want HC Verma concepts of physics? Do I need to send the PDF or not? Sanchita, you want PDF? Okay, ठीक है. Nimra, you too?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. but you are not in the group. You are in the group.
No, sir.
I don't have your contact details also. So this is my number. You can connect with me in this number, and then I'll send you the link to the group and you can join it. Okay.
Yes.
Those of you who are not in the group, please be in the group first, and then you can get an access to that PDF. Okay. So we are meeting on, for 11th standard, we are meeting on Saturday at 8:15 p.m. If any one of you is having any problem, we can shift the class to Sunday 8:15 to 9:15 if all of you agree to it.
Yes, the same problem was with me. Actually, we are having tests at Sunday, so we need at least a day prior
8:15 to
to it.
9:15 Sunday is fine with you.
Yes, sir.
Trisha, Sunday is fine with you, 8:15 to 9:15.
Yes, sir.
Ashmika, for you, Sunday. Keshav, तेरे लिए बेटा Sunday 8:15. Jia, 8:15 to 9:15 Sunday. Sanchita, 8:15 to 9:15 Sunday. Sparsh, चलेगा बेटा तेरे को?
Yes, sir.
Nimra and Manikandan.
Sir, it's in the evening, right?
Yes, yes. PM.
Yeah. Okay.
ठीक है? Done. तो we will be, ये change schedule में change करेंगे. We will be doing it on, instead of Saturday, the class is on Sunday from 8:15 p.m. Timing remains the same, right? 8:15 to 9:15 p.m. Okay. Now this is final. I am not going to change it from now onwards, right? Until and unless all of you agree to a common different time and I am also available in that, I'll definitely be doing that. So don't worry about it. ठीक है? चले आगे खत्म करें आज का. पर please practice those questions, at least. उतना minimum है. That is bare minimum required to attend the next session. If you can do more, I'll be more than happy. You can do 50 questions daily. I'll be more than happy. कल के लिए कृष्णा मैं भेजता हूँ बेटा तेरे को. कल क्या है वो है ना तुम्हारा, मैं भेजता हूँ तुमको.
Electrostats और
नहीं उसमें एक्चुअली एक चेंज है. We will be doing first modern physics and optics.
Okay, sir.
Because वो छोटा है and it is having more weightage.
हाँ, sir.
है ना? मतलब कम टाइम में we will be covering more number of questions.
Okay.
So we'll do first optics and modern physics. Revise optics tomorrow. Ray optics. Ashmika, if you want to attend this repeater, this thing also, we can meet tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. We are doing optics tomorrow. Chalo. So bye. Take care.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Bye. Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you,
केशव तेरी दूसरी क्लास है अभी 9:30 बजे. आजा.
सर
बोल.
आज कल मेरा प्रैक्टिकल है कंप्यूटर का, तो आज
Get lost.
नहीं होगा इसलिए.
भाग जा तू.
नहीं